Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another video, and today we're going to talk about how your world is a mirror and it reflects back to you everything that you think about, everything that you believe, everything you expect, assume, and even things that you fear. So, let's first off talk about your mind's eye, right? Let's get a little esoteric. Your mind's eye. Let's see, how can we start this off? You see, you were blessed with a brain, you're blessed with a body, but you're not those things. So you got to ask the question, what is it that is aware of those things? So I say your mind's eye, and you can kind of see where I'm going with it. It's the awareness within your mind. I guess you could say that, even though it's not. I wouldn't even say it's in your mind. It's beyond your mind. It's I feel like it's something very esoteric that's your soul almost, like, and I can't even confirm for sure, but let's just say on a soul level, it's spiritually everything that watches what's going on with you, when you're feeling like crap, when you're feeling good. So what is it that is aware of those things? That's the true you know. So let's start with what I have right here written down. Let's start with thoughts. Your thought patterns. Your thoughts and thought patterns are essentially the collection of all the inner dialogue and mental conversations you have with yourself during the day. So, whether you admit it or not, you talk to yourself. Everybody talks to themselves, even if it's not out loud. Even if it's not out loud, you talk to yourself. So, I'm gonna put up a picture right here of a picture that you've probably seen on the internet a dozen times. So you got the guy on the left who's happy, the guy on the right who's miserable, right? So it's like, what is that inner dialogue? What's the theme of your inner dialogue? Is it the guy on the left, or is it the guy on the right? And whatever the theme is, whatever the dominant theme is what you're going to reflect back in your life, in the form of experiences, people, situations, and everything. Like when you go out into the world and you're, let's say, like when you're rushing and you're driving in traffic, and your mental chatter is shit, and then you're hitting every red light, and you're just like, everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, and those things seem to always happen when we are in a mental state of shit, honestly, of thinking like, why me, or just thinking on that, that negative spectrum. When you're on that negative spectrum of thoughts, and just feeding that, and believing in that, like, you're just going to attract more. You're going to attract and reflect that back to you. So we all do it. So, like, let's say, like, when you're doing stuff, or you're at work, or you're doing anything really, and you think, with my luck, this is bound to happen. With my luck, I'm bound to whatever, something negative. You got to get out of that. You have to nip that thought in the bud, or you have to be aware when you think that, and stop yourself and be like, no, with my luck, everything's going to work out for me. With my luck, I'm lucky. With my luck, everything on this positive spectrum. You have to catch yourself. That's what a lot of this is really just being aware, and, really being seated in your mind's eye, and, like, being aware that, everything that you think, or the vibrations of what you think, is going to bring that back to you. So let's go to something else that I have right here. Let's go with beliefs, right? I'm gonna give there's these four pillars that I'm gonna give you today in this video. They're thought, beliefs, expectations, and assumptions. And we'll even add fear in there, but we don't really want to focus on that. We'll just throw it in there for reference. So we covered thought. Let me repeat that again. Your thought patterns are essentially the collection of all the inner dialogue and the mental conversations you have with yourself during the day. Now let's move on to beliefs. Beliefs are ideas you picked up from people around you or from an early life experience or experiences which you came to accept as unchangeable truths. So all of your beliefs, anything you believe is, let's say your beliefs about money. Let's say you have a belief that you can only make this amount a year or this amount a month or this amount a week, or all those beliefs can be tweaked. All those beliefs can be upgraded. Now, expectations. Expectations are shaped by what you think is most likely to happen in the moment and what you believe to be the most logical or likely outcome overall. Assumptions. Assumptions are the instinctive meanings or interpretations you give to situations, often reflected in the snap judgments you make about people without conscious thought. And fear, an uncomfortable emotion that arises from a strong belief that something bad or harmful is likely to happen. Now, from thought, belief, expectations, assumptions, and fear, you can mold reality like you can mold clay. With those things, with those pillars, those are the tools that you're going to use to create the reality that you want, or those are the tools or the things that are used in general without even being conscious of it that you use to create the reality that you live in. So you can throw imagination in with thought, we could go ahead and throw imagination in with thought. You see, you're not your body, you're not your mind. You're a powerful, non-physical being. Let me say this again. You are a powerful, non-physical being that was blessed with a mind and a body to live out the desires that you have. So the desires you have also is God or the universe wanting to enjoy and express itself through itself, if that makes sense. Like all the desires you have is God wanting to experience itself. And I really don't know how to elaborate more on that. It's like, if you get that, then you get that. I had an issue at work last week, and I was really in a great mode. I was like in a very good vibration, and I had an issue with somebody that was just in an ugly vibration, and they came off. We had an issue with something, and the rest of the day, it was just on my mind, and I really had to fight whether I was going to let this situation pull me into a negative vibration or pull me into the thought spectrum of just thinking like shit all day, or am I going to fight it or ignore it and, continue on the way that I was feeling. And I use that as an example of when we learn these things and we get on these higher vibrations, or we learn these higher thought vibration gems and try to upgrade our lives, there's going to be things that try to trip us up. The enemy, if you will, is going to see that you're on a path of trying to do better, and there may be more things that you have to deal with than if you were to not be on this path. If you were just coasting in life and drifting, you may not have a lot of things that trip you up, but the fact that you want to do better, and the fact that you on this God tier higher vibration, this God tier higher vibration, then, you're going to have obstacles more than the normal person. So you also have to be aware of these little things that try to trip you up, and you can't let them get you on that left side of that picture that I showed you earlier. Like, it can be very hard. And also saying that, no, let's not say that. Let's not say it's going to be very hard. Let's say it's going to be easy. Let's say it's going to be easy. We're going to recognize that with our mind's eye, and we're going to shift. We're going to shift that into positivity, right? Right? Because the things that we say and the things that we believe tend to happen in our life. If we say things are going to be hard, then they're going to be hard, and some things are hard, but are they? Or are they only hard because we say they're hard?